It's Tuesday, June 13th, 2017. I'm your host, Sarah Mantle. We have a great show in store for you today. First up, we're going to chat with Chief of Police Paul McDonald. Then we take a trip to Bismore Park with Consumer Affairs Supervisor Elizabeth Hartsgrove. She's going to fill us in on all the great programs being offered this summer along the harbor. And finally, we'll chat with DPW Director Dan Santos. All of that on this episode of Barnstable Today. But first, let's go ahead and get a look at today's top headlines. Town elections will be held November 7th. Seats up for election include town councilors in even-numbered precincts, 2 school committee seats, 2 housing authority seats, and the town clerk position. Interested candidates can pick up nomination papers and get all the information they need during an election session hosted by the town clerk's office. That meeting will be held tonight at 6 in the Selectmen's Conference Room. Nomination papers must be submitted before July 25th. For more information, contact the town clerk's office. Residents will have another chance to weigh in on a proposal to alter school start times. The school committee will host a 3rd community forum next Monday. The proposal under consideration would push high school start time to 8:15 a.m. Elementary schools would begin at 9 a.m. and intermediate students would begin at 7:20 a.m. The community forum will be held next Monday, June 19th at 9:30 a.m. at the Hyannis Youth and Community Center. Well, Cape Cod Community College is reaching out to adult learners with a series of information sessions. The sessions are designed for adults who may be returning to college or starting classes for the very first time. The first information session for adult learners will be held tomorrow, Wednesday, June 14th at 6. The meeting will be held in the Wilkins Hall, room 106. All are welcome to attend. For more information, visit capecod.edu. Well, up next, we're going to chat with Chief of Police Paul McDonald. Joining me now live on the phone, Police Chief Paul McDonald. Chief, a very busy weekend for the police department. You guys actually had a pretty big drug arrest. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
This is probably one of the largest drug arrests we've had in quite some time. I arrested an individual, and we found in his possession half a kilo of cocaine. Had a street value of over $75,000. This is one of the investigations that's been going on for months and months and months, and finally came to conclusion this past weekend. We had made several undercover purchases from this individual. He was staying at a house on Cedar Street in West Barnstable. This gentleman was a supplier of the local drug dealers. He was their main source, and he was making weekly trips back and forth to New York. Once we had made these significant purchases from him, we were able to tail him, put him under surveillance all the way back into New York and then back into the town of Barnstable. And once he came in, we effected a motor vehicle stop. He tried to outrun the cruisers, but we had multiple units there to stop him pretty quickly, and he was subsequently arrested. And he has a quite extensive record. He just recently came into this state, and how we ended up Cape Cod, we're trying to verify that now through debriefing, but he has an extensive record throughout the New England area of some pretty serious crimes. He's currently being held without bail pending a dangerous hearing, but this will put a huge dent in the distribution and trafficking of cocaine in Cape Cod.
You know, I have to say, the Barnstable Police Department, you guys are continually working in investigations like this. This is a pretty long-term investigation. Are busts similar in scale? Do they typically take a pretty lengthy investigation? And did you have to work with New York law enforcement?
We work with DEA, we work with the FBI, we work with New York, we work with the Mass State Police. They're crucial to our investigation, especially when you cover such great lengths, and you have to maintain surveillance on this vehicle, back from one state back into the other state. But normally these investigations, people call and they suspect a house dealing in their neighborhood. To start a narcotics investigation, it takes time. People, they give us a call on a Monday and they want to solve by Wednesday. That's just not going to happen, because we have to gather the information, we have to set up a surveillance team, we have to make the undercover purchases, we have to be able to get into the house. And more importantly, once we execute the search warrants, we have to know when the individual is carrying the product. If we execute a search warrant and he's already purchased the product and he sold all the product out, and we go in there, we find nothing, then we just blew the entire investigation and all the time that we put into it. So sometimes we err on the side of caution. We take our time and want to make sure we do it right. We have all our I's dotted and T's crossed, because we know it's going to go to Superior Court. This guy's facing minimum mandatory 15 years, so we know it's going to go to trial with all kinds of motions, so we want to make sure we do it right.
That's right. It's so important, I think. Very interesting that, again, you mentioned a neighbor reported this.
Yep.
So
we get a lot of our investigations, start from somebody calling. People live in the neighborhood. They know what's going on in their neighborhood. They know if a car comes in, it stops there for 2 or 3 minutes, then leaves. Shortly thereafter, another car comes in, stops 2 or 3 minutes. A pattern is set, and they know something's not right. This is not right. They call us. Then we set up a surveillance team. We try to find out what's going on. We quickly identify who's coming and going from and what their past history is, and then we start developing a case. But out of this case, once Mr. Bryant has been arrested, from this, we will develop multiple other cases from this.
Wow. Well, congratulations, and a good reminder for us all to notify police if we see anything that looks out of the ordinary, really.
Everybody knows the neighborhood much better than we do, much better than the police department. If they think something is suspicious, something is just not right, it's probably not right, and if they give us a call, we will certainly look into it. Most of the time, they won't even know that we're looking into it.
Well, great. Thanks for all your hard work and, of course, the hard work of your department. Yesterday, Chief, I was outside of Town Hall, saw some community service officers walking around. They're already patrolling the streets. I think, did they begin over the weekend?
They began Saturday. Last week, back on June 5th, they started their training. They had a week of training. Saturday, they all started working. We had 10 officers working. We expanded the patrol area. Last year, we did half of Main Street from High School Road east to lead to the Transportation Center. Now we're doing the entire length of Main Street from C Street all the way up to the Transportation Center. And they started. They're excited. They're looking forward to it. And they're making an impact. Just the visibility of them being out there, being our eyes and ears, and knowing what's going on out there is going to be a huge help to us.
Well, wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, giving us an update on so many things that are happening in the police department. We really appreciate it.
Good talking to you, Sarah.
You as well. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you Tuesday. Bye.
Bye-bye. Our guest today, Chief of Police Paul McDonald. Now we're going to take that trip to Bismore Park, where we chat with Consumer Affairs Supervisor Elizabeth Hartsgrove. So Elizabeth, we're here at Bismore Park. So excited to talk about the Bismore Visitor Center. This is really exciting. This is something the town started taking over last summer.
That's correct.
So talk to me a little bit about what visitors or residents can find here at the Bismore Park Visitor Center.
Sure. We switched it up a little bit. It was actually more of a commerce type of mentality years ago. However, when we took it over, the town did, we wanted to emphasize town services and being able to provide to residents as well as visitors and guests that come to our community. So we promote all of the services that each of the divisions and departments offer, as well as the necessities of hotels and restaurants and other things that people are looking for.
So if you were a visitor and you were down here enjoying the harbor, catching the artist shanties, maybe meeting some artists, you could stop here and get some advice on where to go or what to do.
That's right.
Find out about some great programs in the town of Barnstable.
Absolutely. So, and it's not just in the town of Barnstable. We do promote other things. There's people, because of the steamship and the High Line, people are going on the ferries to the islands. So we do offer those types of information as well. So we just want to provide to anything that they want and anything they need, we've got it for them.
And this I feel like this is an expansion. You guys really started with some parking assistance, and you launched a Park Happy campaign. You guys got some new parking meters.
Parking meters, correct.
But and you have staff here to help. So you have some park happy staff that can answer questions as well if someone's looking for a parking spot or need help using the meters.
Yeah, you know, 2 years ago we actually rearranged the job description. It was, like you said, it really focused on parking services. However, when we took a survey of what people needed here, it was actually not really the parking aspect of it. It was more the visitor services component. And so we rearranged the job description to really emphasize that and address that need. So, and as you said, it's just built on every year. We just add to it, and it's grown tremendously.
And speaking of additions, I want to talk to you about their new addition to the summer, which is a really fun interactive program for children and families right here at the Visitor Center.
Yeah, it's a new program that we've started in collaboration with the Arts and Cultural Coordinator, Melissa Hirsch, as well as the Natural Resources Director, Dan Horn. And it is it's a free, interactive type of program for families of all ages. Anybody can come and participate. And it really emphasizes and, like I said, showcases all the services that we have to offer. So we have on Mondays and Thursdays, we have the services right here in front of our beautiful harbor. And we have Natural Resources coming to do demonstrations from Sandy Neck coming. We have the golf actually doing practicing their swings and things, and senior services doing hula, and yeah, it's a lot of fun what we have planned, and we have a beautiful brochure that gives you all the information that's available at both the town hall and at 200 Main, at all the town offices, and including also the Welcome Center here.
So excited about this. I know also you're going to highlight Natural Resource Officer Amy Croteau and her work, because she has been collecting some stuffed animals, and we shouldn't call them stuffed, but they are native to Cape Cod.
Yeah.
So when you come, you can be learning about what's native here on Cape Cod. You mentioned Sandy Neck. We can learn about the ecology at Sandy Neck. So lots of great opportunities to learn more about Barnstable and what there is to offer here.
It is. It's really important to show that we have a wide range of services, and it's not what just people think of, you know, DPW and collecting trash, and that's where your taxpayer dollars go. It's actually protecting our environment. We're doing conservation programs. We're doing all sorts of things that people have no idea that we're doing, and that's the whole key of this new program, is to make people proud of the community and what the town employees do every day.
Let's talk about the town employees. So when you asked them to come and participate in this program, were they excited and ready to jump on board, or were they a little hesitant?
No, they actually were really on board with it, and we got a wide range, like I said, a wide range of services that we're promoting with each program each day. So it's completely different, and even Barnstable County is getting involved, and they're having the Coastal Explorer bus that's going to be here from 10:30 to 3:30 in July and also in August. And so I'm just so enthusiastic about what we're being able to offer this year.
So, you know, when parents are down here, maybe participating in the new program, they have a great place to sit out here. When did you add these Adirondack chairs?
The Adirondack chairs actually were an addition back in 2014, and they've been, as you can see, even behind us, it's being utilized and enjoyed so people can sit and enjoy the view.
Well, it's such a lovely spot.
It's gorgeous.
I could sit here all day.
I know.
You know, also a great place for families to sort of relax. Parents can sit down. Yep. Maybe moms, dads could shop over there at the shanties, enjoy some artwork.
Yep.
And also, there's fun games. We have cornhole over here and some great fun photo taking.
Yeah, that's our new addition. Another new addition this year is the Cape Cod Cornhole, actually by our local Cape Cod Cornhole. So, and it's been utilized since we put it out on April 28th. It's actually been used every day. So, and we have directions. If nobody really is aware of how to play it, we have the directions in the Welcome Center, so people can feel free to read through it and understand how to learn to play the game.
Awesome. I think it's such a great partnership too with the Hyannis Artist Shanties, because making this really a hub, like it is a hub. It is a hub of activity. People are taking the ferries and eating at restaurants, as well as shopping. How have you heard a lot of feedback from visitors about the shanties and if they like that?
Yes, they do, and it's actually that program is expanding, I believe, up beyond Asselton Park. So that's why it's been such a successful venture for the town, and it promotes our local artists, and it switches every week, so you can learn about and talk to these artists and see what they're doing, and get a totally different perspective from each individual. It's great.
Exactly, and some locally made art that you can take home with you if you're a visitor, or maybe if you're a resident, a great place to get gifts. So really
very important.
Love hanging out. I don't know how I'm going to get back to work.
I know.
It's going to be hard to leave here.
I know.
Thanks, Elizabeth, for joining us today and telling us all that there is to offer here at Bismarck Park.
Thank you.
Our guest today, Elizabeth Hartsgrove, she is the Consumer Affairs Supervisor for the town of Barnstable. Joining me now live on the phone, we have DPW Director Dan Santos. Dan, a lot of work being done in the 3 bays. Tell me a little bit about this project.
Okay, well, the 3 bay system, which is basically North Bay, West Bay, and Cotuit Bay, that's in Cotuit and Osterville, has seen degradation over the decades from nutrient pollution, which primarily comes from septic systems. Also comes a little bit from rainwater and stormwater and fertilizer and things like that, but it's really septic systems over many, many years. And so what happens is the eelgrass disappears and you don't have the shellfish or the finfish nursery, which an estuary is really supposed to be, or the ability to deal with contaminants. So we're looking at different ways of mitigating that nitrogen or restoring this system. And we've pulled together a group of technical experts on nitrogen that are in the region, as well as the 3 Bays Preservation Group, which has been renamed recently to Barnstable Clean Water, I believe, or we'll have to check that. But they have changed their name and mission to be more comprehensive throughout the town instead of just focusing on the 3 bays. But they're headed up by Z. Crocker, and we're working closely with them, and councilpersons Jim Crocker and Jessica Rapgrossetti are involved as well. And so we're looking at short, medium, and long-term approaches to deal with this. And some of the technologies which we're using, both traditional and alternative that we're looking at, include modifications to the inlet, the Cotuit Inlet, say, where there's going to be some dredging going on that'll increase the flushing in the bays, some dredging. Now, this system goes all the way up to Mill Pond, which is at the intersection of Route 149 and Route 28, and we want to propose doing some dredging there because typically a pond can take care of the nitrogen in the system to a large extent, but when you have so much sediment, it loses that ability to do that. So we're talking about dredging in the pond there. Talking about increasing aquaculture, clams and oysters in the 3 bays system. These are good nitrogen reducing animals. Improving stormwater management and treatment. Using innovative septic systems, including right now we're looking at a proposal to put a urine diverting toilet in the Marston's Mills Prince Cove Marina, which takes that the nitrogen primarily from the urine that's in a septic system. If you remove that from the system, you improve that quite a bit. There's some old bogs there. We're looking at revitalizing those as kind of a wetland filter system. And then ultimately the comprehensive wastewater management plan, which has been worked with by the Water Resources Advisory Committee, or the RAC, has long-term solutions by source reduction and some sewering and some other innovative technologies in the watershed. So it's really a comprehensive look at this system to try to address, the immediate thing that people see is, like, for instance, last summer, there were algae blooms in the 3 bays, and it's, really not a good look, and it really detracts. And so we're trying to, address this in increments.
Now, can algae blooms be detrimental, say, if someone was swimming in the water or enjoying it recreationally? Are there concerns that way with those algae blooms?
Depends on the type of algae. It's very complicated. Some are harmless and they don't look good. Others are toxic. And we haven't had the toxic kind in the 3 bays. But,
well, thank goodness.
Yeah. So the Water Resources Advisory Committee last month was just presented by Public Works, really our first cut at the water management plan, the wastewater management plan that we've been working on for the last 2 years. And this Saturday between 8 and 11 at the town hall, we're going to be digging into that plan with the members of the RAC and in detail how it came to be and talk about alternatives and questions and really dig into it. So
yeah, a pretty extensive meeting on Saturday there. That committee has been working diligently for a while now with a lot of education happening in that committee. So really interesting to see the process play out through watching those meetings. Definitely they've had lots of experts. They've educated the committee and now digging into the hard work of figuring out, talking about the plan and specifics. How long do you think, what is the timeline for this plan? You're going to start digging in, working with the committee this Saturday. How long do we expect it to take to finalize that plan?
Well, it's going to take really the next 2 years to the RAC is going to be working with it this summer, and probably late this year we'll make a presentation to the town council and get their buy-in to really put it out in the community. We want this to be the community's plan. It's not the RAC's plan or the council's plan. It's a plan that our community has come to some consensus on. So we're going to spend 9 months just talking about this, meeting, presentations, interviews, and just getting the word out and getting input from the community on this. And then once that's all done, get the town council's final approval, and then in early 19, nail down the final plan and start implementing.
Now, do organizations like, say, the Environmental Protection Agency, did they need to sign off on a plan that we end up with, the final product here from the town of Barnstable? Did they need to sign off on that?
Well, it's really the DEP that is our regulator here. The Environmental Protection Agency is involved in the 208 plan, which we've been talking about, but that's just dealing with one portion of it, the nutrients or the nitrogen. But our wastewater management plan has to address all issues, including the freshwater ponds and phosphorus, failed septic systems, areas where we want to have economic development, where we might want to provide sewers. So it's more of a, as it's stated, a comprehensive look. And we work with the Cape Cod Commission on that, and primarily the DEP as far as the stamp of approval or not approval.
Wonderful.
But they've been involved in our, DEP has been sitting right down in our meetings with us and developing this plan. So
oh, wonderful. So they've almost been a partner already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nice to have that partner from the Department of Environmental Protection. Now, if a resident is really interested in what's happening, can they attend this meeting on Saturday?
Oh, certainly. Absolutely. Yep.
So it's open to the public.
Yep.
Great. Wonderful. Well, thank you, Dan, for joining us today. We really appreciate it. And, of course, look forward to chatting with you again next week.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good
Take care.
one. Our guest today, Dan Santos, he is the Department of Public Works Supervisor. Up next, we're going to find out what's happening in today's community calendar with Megan Mamlock.
Artist and educator Carl Lopes will be speaking at the Hyannis Public Library this week. Lopes will focus on the various studio techniques used to craft the Spirit of Courage. The Spirit of Courage was created from materials from a recent renovation at the Kennedy compound. The lecture will be held Wednesday, June 14th at 6. The event is free to attend. You can enjoy live music by the Hyannis Harbor every lunchtime, every Friday this summer. The Hyannis Arts Shanties will feature a different musical guest every Friday at noon. This Friday, Ken Silva will be performing some R&B classics, so pack a lunch and head down to Bismarck Park this Friday at noon for a relaxing break. Now back to you, Sarah.
Well, and there are quite a few board, committee, and commission meetings this week. Here's a look at the schedule. Well, thanks for tuning in today. We're going to be back tomorrow with another great show for you. On Wednesday's show, Cape Cod Chamber of Commerce President and CEO Wendy Northgross is going to tell us all about the upcoming Quahog Day. We'll share our in-depth coverage of the recent intergenerational tea held at the Barnstable Senior Center, and we'll check in with Assistant Airport Manager Katie Service. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mantle.